Welcome aboard this train headed towards Week 15 NFL picks. Happy to have you always. Some teams already punched their tickets into the NFL playoffs, but some teams in Week 15, 16, 17 still need to do so. Some of these teams on the edge like Indy, Baltimore, Cleveland, some of these teams really need to find their footing as we turn the corner towards the end of the regular season. Week 15, we got 3 weeks left, not much time to do it. Teams are really going to get urgent as the clock ticks faster. But a little housekeeping to do. Instagram, check it out. I plug it every video at NE Sports United. We're doing some big things over there. Check out my newest story. Updated it today at the time of this recording, if not tomorrow. Kevin Durant back on the court. He's looking healthy. Couldn't be more excited about it. And like and subscribe if you're enjoying these picks every week. Comment on the picks if you want to do that as well. Let me hear it. 2-2 last week. Looking for more this week. Not going to waste any more time. Let's go. Let's kick this puppy off with my favorite pick of the weekend, potentially. Washington hosting Seattle. I'm going to take Washington plus 6.5 here. Seattle has gone eastward a couple times this season at Buffalo, at Miami. Both losses. And they go eastward to Washington again. And Seattle as a team has really suffered at the hands of good defensive personnel, especially in the front seven. Washington is made of their defense. They have the 4th best defense in the NFL. 12 sacks over the last 4 games. You think of Chase Young, you think of Bostic, you think of Kerrigan. That whole defense is real, spearheaded by Ron Rivera. This is an inspired group right now in Washington. They're winners of 4 in a row. They've won 5 out of their last 7. This team is, creeping towards a playoff berth. They're starting Dwayne Haskins this weekend. That kind of, took me a while to adjust to this line. Alex Smith headed towards the bench. But I was realizing, Washington really focus on getting turnovers, and the running game is really good. They don't really rely on their quarterback to make a ton of plays for him. And when you think of Russell Wilson and the 28th best offensive line in football, according to Pro Football Focus, heading into this season, Russell's going to be under fire, and I think he's going to struggle a little bit. So I'm going to take Seattle to win, but I'm going to take Washington to cover. Seattle wins 24-21 in Washington. Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, divisional matchup should be noted. I'm going to take the Vikings -3. This one's pretty standard for me. Just throw out last week for Chicago. Just throw it out. They beat up a lousy team at home. Put up 36 points. Nice performance. Throw it out a 12-story window into oncoming traffic. It means nothing. And, Mitch Trubisky, he'll do this to us every year. He'll play pedestrian, below-average football, and then when it's finally time for the GM to finally make a decision on whether they're going to keep him or not, he throws out one of these, good games, and it's who really cares? They have the 28th best offense. They can't move the ball. And don't forget about Minnesota, by the way. In Tampa Bay last week, they were 3 missed field goals and an extra point away from stealing one against Tom Brady in upset fashion. I picked against him, so I'm glad that kicker, really felt the heat, I guess. But I cannot like Minnesota all I want, but Kirk Cousins has shown improvement. 68% completions, 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. They run the ball, and that's really opening things up for Kirk in the pocket. They run it with Dalvin Cook just around 50% of the time. I like Minnesota here, and Minnesota really building up momentum throughout the last couple of weeks. Chicago, they've lost 6 out of their last 7 games. Wow, what a mismatch, and the line's only 3. And I'll take the home team with a better quarterback, with a better overall roster. I just like Minnesota here. It's pretty standard, but I'll give you the final score, 26-20, Minnesota win. Let's move to the Patriots. Now, the Pats are in Miami this weekend. I'm going to take the Dolphins -1.5 here, but when we think of the Patriots in Miami, they've lost 5 out of their last 7 there. But the circumstances are usually different than they are this year, obviously, because without Tom Brady. But the AFC East is usually in the bag. Playoffs are secured. Let's just enjoy Miami. We live in New England. It's, usually -8 in December, wind chill of -418. Let's just enjoy the Miami weather. And by this point, the Dolphins motivated. We want to beat the Patriots. And it's just a game, and Miami usually wins. But the circumstances are different because the Patriots need to win this game. Now, I'm still going to take Miami to win, but that's because the Patriots, usually you don't think of the Patriots, they're methodical, they're really developed, they don't commit too many turnovers. Cam Newton has reversed that narrative. He hasn't been very good. And the Patriots have finished every game except one with at least a turnover. That's usually not the Patriots' brand of football. And Miami, that defense is real. You saw it against Kansas City in the first half last week. They forced turnovers. Patrick Mahomes, only a handful of interceptions. He had 2 at the hands of the Dolphins. You know, that defense is real, and so is Brian Flores. But Tua Tagovailoa has been hanging around 300 passing yards each and every week now for the last couple weeks. Cam Newton struggling to get 150. He hasn't really adjusted that offense very well. Either that or the coaching staff. It's the other way around. The coaching staff hasn't really adjusted to him yet. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he's going to need to if the Patriots want to get into the playoffs. This is a must-win game, but I'm still going to take Miami. That cautious offense, that really developed defense, Brian Flores, good coach. I'm going to take Miami here to spoil the Patriots' weekend and escape with a 23-17 win over the Pats. The New York Giants hosting the Cleveland Browns this weekend. Give me the Giants plus 6.5. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cleveland has played their best football over the last 2 weeks, and they definitely have. Big win in Tennessee, came up just short of an upset to the hands of the Ravens. I understand they're hot, but I feel like, this is a roller coaster franchise. Cleveland kind of up and down. Baker Mayfield, inconsistent over the course of his career. Now, this Giants defense is nothing to sleep on. Top 10 defense, 7th best against the rush. And you know how Cleveland likes to get the run game going. They like to integrate Nick Chubb early, Kareem Hunt early. That opens up the play action for Baker Mayfield to get more comfortable. I just feel like this is a spot where the Giants are going to be in this game. You think of the Giants, they upset the Seahawks a couple weeks ago. They gave Tom Brady fits on Monday Night Football. This Giants team, I don't know if they're great, but they're serviceable enough to stay in this game, I believe. They're starting Colt McCoy at quarterback, which I'm not really in love with, but if he can just kind of stay out of the way, almost, I know that sounds bad, but if he can just play mistake-free football, that'll be beneficial to the Giants going forward. This defense is well coached, and I just have some questions about the Browns being consistent and being this, offensive dynamo week in and week out. They have the talent to do so, but I just don't know, that mindset of the franchise. Been inconsistent, roller coaster. This might be a spot where the Giants can steal one, but I don't think they will. I'll take the Browns 24-20 over the Giants. Browns win, Giants cover.